Welcome to Metropolitan Pool's Lifeguarding video class.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Louie. And today we are going to talk about rescue breathing and why it's important.
We're also going to go over the different types of situations which may vary depending on the victim. Let's get started! Rescue breathing is performed on a person who has a pulse but isn't breathing on his or her own. Before you can do this, you need to check the consciousness of a person. To check for consciousness, you simply tap on the person's shoulder, ask them, "Hey, are you okay?" If they don't respond, call 911.
When you're checking for a person's pulse, you want to check for no more than 10 seconds. And the reason we say no more than 10 seconds is because if you don't feel a pulse within that time frame, a person most likely will not have a pulse. And if you feel a pulse within that time frame, you don't need to go the entire 10 seconds. Let's demonstrate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When checking for a pulse in an infant, you want to check the pulse on their arm in between the bicep and tricep in their brachial artery. And you do the same thing, no more than 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If a victim does not have a pulse, you would then go immediately into CPR. But we're going to go over that in another video.
If a person has a pulse but isn't breathing, then you perform rescue breathing. First, you need to tilt the head back. This is to open up the airway. Then, after you tilted the head, take the rescue mask, cover it over the person's nose and mouth to create an airtight seal, and place your thumbs parallel to each other on the mask. Then, you are now ready to administer the needed breaths. When you do rescue breathing, make sure your breaths are big enough so you can clearly see the chest rise and fall. Breaths don't go in, you first assume human air, then you need to retilt the head. If they still don't go in, then you are going to assume that the airway is blocked. This is when you then perform unconscious choking CPR, but again, we'll save that for another video.
Tip 1, beware of agonal breathing. Agonal breathing is when the body releases air from the lungs when the person is unconscious and is not breathing. Do not mistake this for regular breathing. Agonal breathing sounds like you could possibly be breathing. It can make sounds like beware of those sounds. That is not breathing.
Tip 2, observe the law of universal precautions and use first aid gloves. If you think you know what the law of universal precautions is, we'll take a second and let you guess.
We're back! If you guess that the law of universal precautions is treating everyone as infectious, then
you're right!
Congrats everyone, good job.
Good job.
Now that you know what rescue breathing is and how to perform it, we are going to show you the different situations where you might need to use rescue breathing.
Let's start with situation 1. In this scenario, we have an unconscious adult who has a pulse, but isn't breathing. When administering rescue breaths to an adult, the ratio is 1 breath every 5 to 6 seconds. I will perform it on the dummy. You take the rescue mask, place it over the nose and mouth completely, creating an airtight seal, while making sure your thumbs are parallel. You tilt the head back, and now you're ready to administer each breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're going to talk about situation number 2, and that's child rescue breathing. The rescue breath ratio for child rescue breathing is 1 breath every 3 to 5 seconds. And just to be noted, the breaths are a little bit different from giving it from an adult. They're a little bit less. The reason why you want to put less air into a child when giving rescue breathing is because if too much air gets into the child, it can go into their stomach and cause them to puke. Remember guys, just like in that last scenario, remember to create that airtight seal with the rescue mask by putting the mask directly over the nose and mouth and putting your thumbs parallel over the mask. Then you want to open that airway. Now you're ready to do rescue breaths. I'm going to demonstrate how to do it on a child. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
The third situation we're going to go over is rescue breathing given to an infant. This is the same way that you would do it on a child, except it's much shorter breaths, equivalent to blowing on a candle. Alright, now we're going to show you rescue breathing on an infant. First, you take the rescue mask, place it over the nose and mouth on the baby, creating an airtight seal, keeping your thumbs parallel on the mask. Tilt the head back and administer the same ratio of breaths that you did on the child, which was 1 breath every 3 to 5 seconds. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Now guys, after 2 minutes of rescue breathing, you then want to go and reassess the victim. Reassessing means you check for a pulse and to see if they're breathing. After 2 minutes, if the person does not have a pulse and is not breathing, you want to go into CPR. And after 2 minutes, if the person has a pulse and is breathing, you sit there and monitor them and reassess every 2 minutes until EMS arrives.
Alright guys, that's rescue breathing. If you have questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to call the office or ask your supervisor.
We'll see you
next time.